the year goes on, I get closer and closer.
To learn new skills and to build new acumen.
We can always touch. It's not.
When you get that, then you get a lot more excited about being around children.
Normal, in a sense, with all of the changes.
Or how you can transform your own business.
Developing the whole child, socially, emotionally.
Traditional route of teaching young people
how to set boundaries, because this little victim here needs to know how to.
Very well, so they use that term.
Sometimes expanded them to go up to 40 minutes.
All of those things in education, of course, those things are important.
Is going to our heads and our lungs.
Affirmations in the mirror for about 2 minutes.
What did you do in order to get yourself going?
This is amazing.
It happens, what seems to happen quite a bit in our school.
For the families to come, and they, is that really for the child, or is it for us, for the parent?
and doing new things for our brain.
Who's orchestrating everything in this universe?
Which parts of the brain are used?
On that map that we have.
See you with your smiling face.
Atul, thank you very much for allowing me to join you. Namaste to you, my friends.
Hello, everybody. Good evening to those in India. Good morning to those in the States. And wherever else you are, whatever time of day it is, we hope it's fun for you. We are coming to you today with the Early Childhood Global Mastermind Group. And we have back Dr. Sandeep Gupta. Doctor, can you say hello to everybody?
Hi, everyone.
We're so happy to have you back. You're a pleasure to have, and your knowledge base is so helpful to so many parents here. So let me tell everybody a little bit about you. Dr. Gupta is a senior pediatrician and childcare expert in Bangalore with vast experience in the field of childcare. He currently practices at Asler CMI Hospital in Bangalore and is also the founder of Baby Help. Dr. Sandeep Gupta has been treating newborn babies, toddlers, preteens, and teenagers for more than 11 plus years now. He has expertise in dealing with common newborn problems, child nutrition, childhood infections, growth and development evaluation, management. He is also an American Heart Association certified pediatric advanced life support trainer. Having treated more than 10,000 plus children and approximately 4,000 plus PICU cases, your child is in safe hands when you consult with Dr. Sandeep Gupta. And for those of you that are not aware, he has a really informative YouTube channel and posts to this page as well, so that you can find a lot of useful information. And you can also send him questions if there's something in particular. Is that correct, Dr. Gupta?
Thank you so much for a nice introduction. And it's my pleasure to interact with the audience here. And I really find it blessed to be on this platform and sharing my knowledge and sharing your knowledge and using this platform to educate the parents about the right practices in taking care of their parenting and children.
Thank you. So we're going to get into our first question. And even though Dr. Gupta works with children of all ages up until, I believe it's 18 as a pediatrician. I don't know if it's the same in India as in the US. Yes. Today we're going to focus.
Up to 18 years.
Oh, 14.
Up to 18 years.
Okay, so we today are going to focus on infant toddlers, particularly because we know that with everything that happened with COVID, this group of children, I myself work for Johns Hopkins in the early intervention program, Early Steps, and so many babies under the age of 3 are now being diagnosed with developmental delays, all because of things that have happened during COVID and a lack of so many things. So let's go right from the start and talk about what are the main concerns parents have after they've had their first child. They come home and all of a sudden they're parents. And there's a lot more than just going out and buying your first car. This is a living thing.
So let me start by coming to the immediately after birth. Now recently my cousin sister gave birth to one girl child. So I had to deal with all the problems, whatever she faced. Every day she'll be calling. So first, when the baby is born, it's a very fragile baby and it has totally different habits or behavior compared to adults. So the baby is a very fragile and they need different kind of care. So right from the first thing which is important for baby is feeding. So when the baby is born, every time for first 6 months, they will feed at every 2 to 3 hours interval. They need milk because, and breastfeeding is breastfeeding. So you give mother's milk and you give mother's milk every 2 to 3 hours, they will be demanding and crying for the feeds. This is one thing which is very commonly noticed in newborn babies. Unlike us, they will not have a fixed pattern. So every time they will be crying when they want feed, and once they are fed, they will sleep. So coming to next important thing is the sleep. So babies who are very young, within 6 months, they sleep about, let's say, around 14 to 18 hours in a day.
Wow.
So basically, till the first 6 months, when the baby have not learned to sit on their own, they just feed and sleep, and they do potty and urine. So that is what they do. So basically, they are not having any other brain functions at that time. They generally like to sleep a lot. So sometimes parents get concerned about the sleep, but sleep is very natural and normal. The other thing about the sleep, which I would like to mention, is many babies will be awake the whole night. So whole night they will be awake and they'll be sleeping more through the day. Especially the babies who are less than 6 months old, they like to sleep more in the daytime, and night time they will be awake, which is opposite to the adult sleeping cycle, because adults as parents would like to sleep in the night, but the baby will be awake in the night, and that is the normal trend. So you have to cope up with that also. That is one more important thing you should note. Another thing is the urine and stool. The urine baby will pass very frequently. A healthy baby should pass at least 6 to 8 times urine per day, and it should be clear like watercolor. Stool color or the potty which comes, stool color should be, motion color should be yellowish. It can be greenish. It can be dark yellow. It can be light yellow, and different colors come. 2 colors are only abnormal. One is totally pale white color. Other is red color. If these 2 colors are there in the stool, you should seek your pediatrician's opinion. Rest all color, even the black color stool for first 3 days is normal, because the intestine has the stored mucus, and that becomes black, and that first 3 days it will be black color stools which will come. So that is all normal. So these things are which generally parents get worried about. And once the baby is 1 month, more than 1 month old, they start crying in the night. That is something called in medical terms as infantile colic. In general terms, people call it baby colic. So this happens because the intestine makes a lot of gas when it digests mother's milk or even the formula milk. It makes a lot of gas, and generally this infantile colic or the baby colic starts somewhere around at the end of 1 month, and it lasts up to 6 months till the baby learns to sit. It starts in daily routine. It will be seen in the late evenings till the midnight or even early till 2 a.m. So this is a very, very, what should I say, like irritating problem, and very parents get angry and frustrated, or sometimes very anxious. They run to hospital, but this is something which is not harmful. It is just the gas is trapped in the baby's stomach and baby is not able to let it out. So for these different kind of massages around that is called colic massage. So around the navel, you can do some massages. You can use cycling movement of the legs to release the gas. You can do proper burping of the child. So these things help the relieving of the gas. And sometimes white noise helps to distract the child. Even you can take the child into the open free spaces, terrace or the corridor for a walk. These things will soothe the colic baby. Sometimes colic drops also are available that you can take after a prescription from your pediatrician to help the colic pain. So this is very important in terms of a small baby. Other things which I noticed is my sister asked me that every time I'm feeding the baby is passing the motions or loose stools after the feed, which is very normal thing, because baby's intestine is small. So when the stomach is filled with the milk, it will contract the rectum or the part where the stool is stored, and that whatever stool is there, it will come out. So this is very normal. It's called gastrocolic reflex, which is a normal thing in young babies, especially less than 6 month old babies. Very common. one thing which parents often get worried is the soft spots on the head. So there is something called frontanel in our head. In the front, there's one big one and there's a small one in the back. These soft spots are just to allow the baby's brain to grow, because see, our brain is encased by a hard skull, by a bony structure to protect the brain, because after all, brain is the most vital organ in our body. So we need to protect that, and it's very fragile. So what happens is, but the brain of a baby is growing, so they need to expand. So that's why the skull has some soft spot which can stretch and allow for the baby's brain growth. So should not be worried about that.
That's a lot of information in there. Thank you so much. And I think you did a really good, concise job of hitting on the things that parents get concerned about. And they're just simple, everyday life functions. And you talked about white noise. And of course, Dr. Gupta, my mind's going to go to, yep, this is where music is so important, because, when the baby is in the womb, that's what they're hearing. They're hearing those like white noise sounds. And so when they hear them outside the womb, they feel comforted. And with the gas, people that watch this show, these interviews, know that I always have a song. Preeti always says, do you have a song for everything? And you were talking about pumping the legs. And I actually have a song about that, where you lay the baby on the floor when they're colicky or gassy, and you're singing, pump, 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 pump your legs, so that the baby's moving, but you're looking and smiling and getting all those wonderful neurochemicals going, right? And also attaching. So that leads me into the other question. The next question is how important it is for a parent or adult, that's the caregiver, to play with the baby. And by this, I mean, floor time, encouraging movement, talking to them, singing, even reading to a baby. They used to think that at this age, not much was going on, and that you're doing that sort of thing was just more for your benefit, when actually we know it's for the baby as well. So let's talk about that importance of interaction.
Okay, so let's talk about the interaction between the parents and the baby. So what happens is, let me bring it to some background of it. What happens is, human babies, they learn to walk by age of 1 year. They are only independently mobile by the age of 1 year. Till then, they are fully dependent on the parents or the primary caregivers for everything. Whereas if you see in planet, different animals, their babies will be mobile immediately after birth. So the baby is very, very insecure. So what parents notice is, every time when a small baby is put on the bed, the moment you put the baby on the bed, baby will start crying. When you take the baby in the lap, baby will not cry. Baby will be comfortable, smiling, playing. So this is because the nature has designed their brain in such a way that they feel that they need to feel that they are protected, they are being hugged, they are being in touch with somebody who is their own, or their primary caregiver, their parents, right? So this is an inherent tendency or the nature of the human baby, that the moment baby feels they are alone, they will start crying. And this is very common. Some of the parents get scared because of this also. And they keep complaining, sir, whenever we put the baby on the bed, baby will keep on crying. The baby only wants to be cuddled and kept on the lap. So this is normal. So this is the beginning of human interaction between the baby and the parents. And it is very important. So I always tell the parents that you have to bond with your baby. Baby should feel your touch, your voice should be coming to the baby's ears, because they have multiple important things about it. See, when we touch the baby, sometimes we say that do massaging for the baby. The massaging is as much as for the skin, more it is for the brain's development, because that will give sensory stimulus. So baby will realize this is my body part, it is here and there, and that thing will feel more comfortable for the baby. Similarly, when you are doing burping, so every time when you have fed the baby, small babies, you need to burp them to take the air out of their stomach. So that time I tell that don't think to be a mechanical thing. Don't think that burping is a mechanical thing. Just try to bond with the baby. Tell the baby stories. Talk to baby in a different way. Make different voices. So the baby will hear your voice. Baby will recognize this is your voice. So after 6 months, what happens is baby will recognize this is my parent's voice. Although the baby may not recognize you as a person, but after 6 months, that time baby will recognize you as your parents or primary caregivers. And after 7 months, they will develop stranger anxiety. Means apart from the familiar faces, apart from the familiar voices, if somebody comes near to the baby, baby will start crying, withdrawing themselves. So this is the beauty of interaction in the early part. And the hearing also develops the speech. So whatever the baby is hearing, slowly that information is getting encoded in their brain. And it is a subconscious level, they will develop the speech from the hearing. So it is very important to sing to the baby, talk to the baby, and as much as make eye contact with the baby, so that baby can realize your face, recognize your face. This is very, very important. So this is very important, and these are the roles which you need to play. And later, age appropriate activities you have to do. So sometimes you give baby tummy time and allow the baby to look around. Give some small toys, age appropriate safe toys for baby to play with. And after a year, you can play a ball game, like give a ball to baby to kick, and play the game of naming the body parts, naming the objects. These are very, very important to spend your time with your baby interacting. And one more thing is, this is a very joyous experience for parents, because see, once in life only this time will come. Never again this time will come with your baby like that.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm not sure if you've watched yet, but I sent you the link to the TEDx talk that I did on building brains with music. And I talk about that. I'd be honored if you watched, because we're hitting on some of these things that you're talking about, and how those little things, that touch, that singing, that looking in the eyes, makes such a big difference. And as you said, this time is gone quickly. And all of a sudden they're a toddler. And sometimes parents are looking back and there's a little bit of a disconnect. The vestibular system you talked about with the rubbing and connecting, that's my body. When there's a disconnect there, then we get them in these early steps programs because they're not connecting the movement with their body part, their ability, and this is just a little tiny human, but we are really putting all the little pieces in there for making a person that's going to be fully functional, and not just, people always go with the cognitive, but emotionally, and socially as well. Is it true, like when we connect with the baby as a parent, we're leading to their ability to connect with others and make friends, have relationships. It all starts here, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And also connecting with their pediatrician that wears really cute stethoscopes. I love that. So in my Music with Mayor classes, I'm starting to I started last year with the parents coming in with the babies that are only 8 months old to a year. And I really dislike that they refer to them as my COVID baby, because the baby was conceived and born during the lockdown. And they have some concerns, like, should I have a mask on my baby? And can they be in a class like this? How do I keep my baby safe? What are the concerns for children under the age of 2 for COVID?
In terms of COVID babies, what happens? Babies who were born in last 2.5 years, they actually they are not that much affected, to be very honest, because first 2 years actually children don't go out of their house that much. They interact with their parents. But beyond the babies who are actually a toddler, 3 years old or 4-year-olds, who have not had the normal pattern of going to school at the right age. So 3-year-old or 4-year-olds go to preschool, and 6 years, 5 years old are starting schooling. Those children actually missed that opportunity. They were not able to connect with the peers. They were not able to have that age appropriate gaming or playing activities, or the physical activities or interaction with other people. These were totally went missing for the toddler age group. The age group of 3 to 5 years, who were now 3 to 5 years, and that time they were young. So for them, this age appropriate activity got missed. And for them, a lot of problems happened in terms of their behavior. So many parents come and tell me, Doctor, previously before COVID, my child was so alert and playful and enjoyed himself going out, interacting with different people. But suddenly what has happened, he's become withdrawn, he's only playing with his own toys, not interacting, not showing interest with other people's interaction, and not enjoying other people's presence. And one more thing which is now increased after this COVID is the incidence of speech delay. There's a large number of speech delay cases coming now because of the COVID, because children got isolated. They didn't have the age appropriate interaction with the peers and the play group activities. Those things actually help in the brain development. And this is what I have noticed. And one more thing is the children who are little bit even older, like who are in the like at the verge of their adolescence, those who are between like say 7 to 10 or beyond 10, what happened is they are now getting intimidated and frustrated with their parents' presence, because they have only two people to interact with, and those people, the parents are not the same interest, parents are not having the same interest as the child. So 7 to 10-year-old child will like to play whole day with some their peers with different kind of games they will play with among themselves, physical activity and all, whereas parents are working on their computer doing their own work, or they're doing their household work. So child will not have the same interest as the adults. So that becomes a big barrier or a gap of communication, and children are really frustrated. Last week only I had, this week actually I had a girl who's let's say 8 or 9 years old. She's parents reported to me that the child is shouting on us. I told, see, unless she gets some personal time and time with other children, she will be very frustrated at looking at you, because you are not having the same interest, you are not giving her the same enjoyment or the opportunity to do things which she wants to do according to her age. The intellectual level is not the same. So you have to allow her some free time with her friends, or try to become friends with your child. Try to come to their intellectual level and find out what is their interest, rather than trying to discipline the child. Why? Because they need at the same, whatever they are thinking, somebody should think in their pattern, and then they will blend and then enjoy and mix up with that person. Unless you go to their level of intellectual understanding, you will not have a good understanding or good hold or good command on your child's behavior. The child will become more and more stubborn. They will not listen to you.
Okay, so going back to the very beginning when you said about the not much effect on infant toddler, because they are, and I understand in India you don't have that developmental stage toddler. It's infant, and then at 3 they start preschool. Is that correct? Okay, yes. So is it my understanding then that up until that age, those children are mostly interacting with family? Okay, so with that in mind, because this is not in the questions, but it is something that always interested me when I heard a pediatric neurologist speak one time, and he said that parents are incorrect when they think that a child from the age of 0 to 2 needs socialization, that they don't need socialization outside of their familial group, because what they need is attachment. Is that correct?
See, what will happen is, till the age of 2 or 3 years, child is still not independent. But what happens is, child in an exploratory mode. So after 1 year, child suddenly discovers, I can walk, I can go to this place, that place, I can pick that object, I can explore and see things. So what happens is, 1 to 3 years is the age of exploration for them. What they generally do at this age is, wherever they can go, they will go. They will go, they will play. So wherever they can find a space, they will go to space. Whatever they can see an object, they will try to pick and explore what is it. Everything they are in exploratory mode. So what happens is, at this time, if they find their peers, they will play with them, they will group with them, but they will not develop so attachment with the other people. They were still, it's like exploration, and you come back to your base. So base are parents. Whenever they feel hungry, whenever they need support, the emotional or any kind of thing they need, so they will come back to parents. But otherwise they are in an exploration mode, because that is the first time they realize that I am an independent person. Till 1 year, they are actually relying for everything on parents. Beyond 1 year, they try to learn, explore their body parts, their senses, their organs, and try to see different things in their own perspective, and they become an individual then. Till 1 year, it's just a baby, and beyond 1 year, they become an individual. So for this, slowly, they need to interact with other people also, and see and observe different things. that is very, very helpful for their brain growth.
So, is socialization necessary outside?
It is necessary and is helpful. You cannot keep a child in one place who is more than 1 year. Definitely, you have to allow different spaces, different places to go in a park or visit some other people's family and visit and mingle along with so many people. That is definitely required.
Okay, so if during COVID they weren't allowed to do socialization outside of the group that they were safe with, as long as they still were getting that socialization of a mom, a dad, a sibling, cousins, and grandparents, they are satisfying that need.
No, so what happens is they are mostly okay with everything. Only problem is they develop very like fear for strangers. They'll get fear for strangers. They will not talk to strangers. They'll not have that attitude to explore the stranger's mind or interact with strangers in a funny way. That thing gets lost when you are not socializing at a very young age.
Okay. Okay.
That is the only problem which happens.
Okay,
and that also.
And that also can be worked out by bringing them to things like the library or restaurants that are baby friendly, where they can see other people and have a wait person come to a table and they start to see all of those normal daily social interactions. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So should parents start? I think you might have answered this question because you did everything so detailed, and I really appreciate that because it's going to make it easy for those that are going to be rewatching this. The difference, obviously, there's difference between what you would do with a newborn and what you would do with a toddler, and then what you would do with the toddler versus what you would do with a preschooler. So sometimes parents, they get really anxious and their newborn that's let's say now 6 months old, they're buying into these things like showing them black and white flashcards with words on them and thinking that they're helping the child's brain start to learn to read or something, when really that kind of stuff's not necessary. So if you can talk on that and put parents' minds at ease.
So see, there's something called age appropriate activities for children. So different children need different activities at different age. So like children who are less than 6 months, it is mostly the touch. Yes. They need to feel your touch, because more than the touch, they cannot actually see things very clearly. By 4 to 5 months, actually the vision becomes clear and they see clearly. Before that, it's just blurry images which come there in their eyes. They cannot focus by that time. So it is age appropriate. So first 6 months, basically it is touch which is more important. Then comes the speech, means you keep talking to the baby. Baby hears your voice. Baby responds to your voice. That is important. Beyond 6 months, different colorful objects and giving some tummy time, sitting on the floor or crawling, that kind of activity, rattles, these kind of colorful toys and some kind of rocking on this swings and all. This will help a lot for the child's development. Beyond 1 year, actually they can play some games like kicking a ball, going and picking an object, trying to see what is this, and holding an object and throwing a ball, like that. And you can ask them to walk to a place, and you can maybe like stand some distance and ask them to come towards you. So this running, this kind of thing, or giving an object and saying they come and catch this object. So like that things, it will help them to actually grow. One more thing I want to tell you is many parents believe that walkers help children walk earlier. I'm just going out of context, but I just want to bring this to attention of parents who may be watching this. See, walkers are not helpful because baby walkers are actually very dangerous things. What happens is there are wheels attached to the walkers, and when the baby tries to walk on the walker, they can kick their legs and go at very fast pace, which is not in their control. So they can get hit by a wall, they can go into kitchen, get injured, they can fall from the stairs, And what happens is, see, natural walking only happens when you learn to bear your weight on your body, on your feet, so in the legs. So that is the natural way. With the walker, actually the foot arches, the foot balance is not the right way. So it actually delays and it is not safe. So best thing is to avoid walker. Nature has designed our body in such a way that at the age of 10 months, baby will stand with support. By the end of 11 months, baby will 11 or 12 months, baby will stand without support. By 1 year onwards, baby actually starts walking 1 foot at a time and by independently. So there is no need for using walkers in that, because that is a major safety concern. I think in 2004, Canadian societies has banned use of walkers in Canada, and American Academy of Pediatrics also has actually a recommendation of not using walkers. Indian Academy of Pediatrics last year also has given a recommendation for parents not to use walkers. So this is now globally taking momentum for parents not to allowing the child to use walkers, because walkers are not safe.
Thank you so much for bringing that point up, because we stopped using walkers in my family a few years ago. I mean, even when my daughter was a baby 33 years ago, we had gotten her things where she could pull herself up and try to balance, but not the walker itself. And I think that information you just gave is extremely valuable, because so many parents think that they have to put their babies into those things. So since you went into that direction, what about the carriers where you just plop the baby in, the baby holders where they just hang from you?
That is only till they cannot walk, especially for children who are less than 6 months. Beyond 6 months, they like to be there. Some mobility comes. They can actually crawl after 9 months. 10 months, they can stand and walk. Beyond 1 year, that is not advised, because beyond 1 year, they will like to walk themselves. So if you have to carry them, you can carry them in that, but ideally you should not use it. You can use a stroller or car seat when you are taking them. But that one, when you carry the baby is almost like immobile. Baby cannot move. And children who are more than 1 year, they like to move around. They want to have their own free mobility. So less than 1 year old child, it's pretty much okay for a small time. But more than 1 year old child, that is not not ideal, I would say.
Right. I know that someone had mentioned that when they're just hanging like that and they don't have to exert any effort, that it's not good for their muscle tone.
Absolutely. So any muscle of the body, when it is used, it becomes perfect. Any motion, any movement. When we do a movement, oftentimes that movement becomes a perfect movement for us. So children have to definitely learn their movements, walking, running, climbing stairs. So this is very important for them to have proper development of muscles, bones, and bones should become strong. When you use these muscles and your legs, your limb will become strong. It will have its own weight bearing potential. Unless you do this and always carry the baby will not develop that strength.
Okay, good stuff to know. All right, so in closing here, what would you like to let parents know about how they could reach you? And I know this is a global thing, so obviously you're not going to get patients in Canada or Mexico or the United States. However, you do offer some really good, valuable information on your YouTube channel, and you have a lot of valuable things to say. So what would you like to offer?
So my side, I can always offer you day-to-day questions, answers. I have a Facebook page where you can actually post your questions and I can answer. And definitely the YouTube channel is there, and a lot of videos are there in English which you can listen to and understand common day-to-day problems. Answers will be there. And YouTube channel also, there's a community now. So in the channel's community, if you ask questions, I will definitely make sure that we answer that question in the most appropriate way and the most scientific way with my experience.
Okay, so with your saying that, and I hope you don't mind, but what point would a parent have to reach out? Like your babies, parents, that's what they get worried about. Like, oh, my baby's temperature is 100, or my baby coughed And if people got in touch with you for every little thing, you would have no time for the when my baby fell and is bleeding situation. So advice for parents to calm down.
This actually, see, this is see, I understand it from both the perspectives. One is the parents' perspective, because every day I have to interact with parents and deal with their anxieties, and one is from the pediatrician's perspective as a healthcare provider. How do we deal with it? So parents' perspective, what happens is once anything is new to your life, you don't know anything about it, you definitely are likely to get scared. Anything which is happening to you for the first time in life, be it anything, your first child is being born, or you are falling in love in first time in your life, so everything actually, it is scary when you do it first time, but as you see through the process, you generally get a hold of things, you get to understand where the things are going wrong or where it is manageable. And it is cannot be taught by telling something, although we give some fine points. Okay, let's say when your fever is above 102, you need to give paracetamol or Tylenol, and just see the fever is coming down or not. If the child is eating well, child's activity is well, child is in between fevers doing well, child's sleep is good, child is not having any difficulty in breathing, then whatever fever comes, it will slowly settle down. So what I generally tell is activity and feeding. These are the two very good important markers. If your child is active, playful, and is eating well, even if it is eating to 70% or 60% of what generally the child is eating, there is pretty much a safe range where you can actually try to be at home and do things which you are advised by the doctor. Beyond that, you should always consult, because nowadays, because of the COVID, there are multiple other problems also being seen. So consultation nowadays, it has become video consultation, and teleconsultation has become available in different platforms across the globe. I think in US also it is definitely there. So that has actually improved the, what should I say, the facility for the parents. Does not need to be seen physically directly. So whatever I told you today, this kind of things can happen on an online platform, through a video call also. So keep in touch with your pediatrician or the healthcare provider or family physician. Book a video call consultation appointment and see and express your concerns to the doctor initially, and he will guide you that at what point you need to go and physically check with him, because that is the much easier approach than every time booking an appointment, going to a physical distance, and then reaching out to your pediatrician or other family physician. So that is what I felt is the video consultation has actually helped the parents to like minimize the time or time wasters or effort wasters to get an expert opinion. So that is, I think, much easier, and it is no blanket way to say that the baby is not well or well. It is a parents, and even if I tell you, it is not going to help you, because see, how do we handle a thing when you seeing it for first time, it will not help. So once you get more and more experience, you have dealt with a viral fever once in your child, then you get to know that okay, with this much my child will recover here. The child's activity and response to fever, you will understand and gauge it. It's like cooking. So every time, even if you're told the recipe, you are not cooked the first time, you'll not cook that well. But after cooking a few times, you actually get hold of things, how things are going. It is not like always a mechanical thing, not algorithmic. It is just about your gut feel, your senses, how you feel about it. So that is how it is. But yeah, generally for each kind of problems, we just tell some warning signs or red flags, and according to that, we guide to the parents.
Nice explanation. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed speaking with you today, and I want to tell everyone to please reach out. You can still post a comment or a question. We can hang for a minute if someone has something they'd like to ask. But we have not been doing these weekly anymore because everyone's life has gotten busy again. But we are hoping to set up some different type spotlights with once a month or every other week, or maybe bringing people like Dr. Gupta on for you sending in questions and things like that. So I want to thank you for your time and ask you if you please stay for a moment till after the video so I can check a couple of things with you. And everyone else, thank you. This is Mayor. Please check out my TED Talk on building brains with music that helps support the information Dr. Gupta just gave. And my book of the same title will be coming out soon. So thank you. Watch Dr. Gupta, subscribe to his YouTube channel, and we'll see everybody at this place on this wonderful global group again soon. Let me find my little video here. There we go. Let's wave bye-bye here. All right, Dr. Gupta.